guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Jazzy J Sauce. If you like my content or you want to continue to see what's new to this channel, don't forget to hit subscribe and like this video. Without further ado, let's get into the title. So your girl bought a new car during a pandemic. Let me give you some, I guess, insight or backstory as to why I decided to get a car. I am still in New York, but I'm more in the suburbs, so I would need a car to like get around. And I thought versus me spending $300 a month in Ubers, I can put that $300 a month towards a car payment. The first step that you'll need when you're looking to buy a car, of course, is to pick out what car that you want. Now I know everyone's very into luxury cars, and of course, like, I like luxury cars, but I wanted to be reasonable. I'm living in New York right now. This is not my forever car, and I wanted something that was good on MPG, miles per gallon, and that could get me from here to there without breaking the bank. So when you have decided on what make and model of car that you want to purchase, you then want to do some research on your own. You want to research the different car dealerships that may be local to you, see what their price points are. I also do suggest that you look up Kelley Blue Book. Kelley Blue Book is essential for when you're looking for a car. That way you know that you're not being taken advantage of at the dealership, that they're actually pricing the car at the correct price. And then you want to read reviews. Now, this purchase is no different from buying a pair of jeans or hair care products or anything like that. I want to read reviews on how the car lasted, the perks, if there's any recalls on the car or the model. That's super important, because when you're having all this information, you can bring that to the dealership if you want to haggle the price, and say, well, hey, like, well, this is recalled, or hey, I heard this is not great, and then you can have that ongoing conversation with the car dealership person. Now, if you do not have good credit, which I did not have great credit, I am currently working on that. Don't let that discourage you from trying to buy a car or trying to lease a car. Whatever you want to do is just have that conversation, and be honest with your when you go into the dealership. And then also, I would say, if you don't have good credit, what I did was I had a rainy day fund, and I had a lump sum to put down on the car, so it can be a little bit more desirable to the car dealership to let me actually buy the car, allow me to make payments towards the end total, and to have some faith in my buying power and me being able to make the payments on time. That all goes hand in hand with your research. When you are researching the make and model of the car that you want, you're looking at different dealerships. Sometimes certain websites have places where you can insert your information for, like, it takes like 30 seconds, where, like, oh, what's your credit score? How long do you want to lease this car? How many payments, how many years do you want to make payments on this car? And it'll tell you like a rough estimate of what the payment might be. Now, if that's too high or too low for you, that's when you need to research other options, or you can stick to that make and model. Now, once you've researched the car, you know what car that you want, you are going to, I guess, call around to the dealership. Because sometimes when a car is on their website, that doesn't mean necessarily it's at that specific dealership or it's still ready for you to purchase. So I would save the trip and the worry and the hassle and call around to the different dealerships. Some cars have stock numbers, or I don't know if they give the VIN number on the website. I don't know if that's public information. It might be. But when you're calling The car dealership person, you want to sound confident when you're making that call. Like, hey, I'm looking for a Mazda 2 2015. It's green. It's a sport hatchback. I see it on your website, yada, yada, yada. Now, especially if you're a woman, I don't know why, but when you go to car dealerships, sometimes they try to play you, or they try to act like you're not as well versed, or you don't know how to talk that talk. So just do some research. If you can bring someone else with you, that's even better, because 2 ears are better than one. 2 sets of ears are better than one. So you picked up the car, you set your budget, you know how much you want to pay a month, and you know how much you want to put down. Now, what I want to suggest to everyone who's watching this video and in general, be very firm in those decisions. Be very firm in that number or that quote when you're speaking to the salesperson. Their job is to sell, okay? Of course, that's their job. Of course, they're going to try to sell you a better or more expensive car to bring more money into that dealership. Okay, makes sense. But be very firm in your prices. If you said, oh no, I'm only going to spend, my budget here is to buy a used car that is no older than 5 years old, and I'm only going to spend $10,000. That is it. My monthly payment has to be less than $300, okay? I am not going to make monthly payments on this car for more than 4 to 5 years. Because when you go into these places, salesperson is going to try to sweet talk you. Oh, well, you're looking at this car? We have a better car. This car just came in. I think you should look at this car. Now, while it is okay to look, because that essentially might be a better deal, but you want to make sure that you are knowledgeable on cars and that you can make that decision in the moment. Fast forward to car shopping. What I did was I looked at used cars because I wanted to buy a used car, and I was looking at cars locally in New York. I was looking at cars in Maryland because I'm from Maryland. I'm familiar with that place. Virginia, DC, in that area. Those areas that I'm familiar with, I'm pretty familiar with cars because my dad, like, he worked on cars while we were growing up, and like he showed me stuff about cars. So I'm kind of knowledgeable in cars. I'm not an expert. And while I looked in those areas, I was looking at the prices. Now, you want to make sure that they are pricing the car according to Kelley Blue Book. Now, of course, it might be like $100 off or like $200 off. It's not going to be exactly the price, but you want to make sure you're not being taken advantage of. Sometimes, not all salespeople, but sometimes they're going to try to sell you a car that hasn't been selling or has been on the lot for a long time. They're trying to get rid of it, yada, yada, yada. Next step. Once you have picked your dealerships, and we have discussed before, make sure you call them ahead of time. Tell them you're interested in this car. Try to not necessarily set an appointment, but like, oh, hey, like I'm coming Saturday to check out this car, to let them know that you're very much so interested in it. You don't want them to sell it, and you are on your way to actively pursue buying the car. Don't just call them like, oh, hey, like I'm interested in the Toyota Corolla that's sitting on the lot. Do you guys still have it? And it's like, yeah, we still have it. Okay, bye. Okay, that's, to them, that's nothing that will perk up their ears. But okay, I'm interested in purchasing this car. I'll be there Saturday to look at it. Will that be okay? And they'll let you know. Now, when you go to see cars, I don't like to go to see a whole bunch of cars. That's just a personal preference. Like, I'm not driving around to like 18 different dealerships to look at the same car. I'll narrow it down for 1 or 2. And when you call them and make sure that they have the car on the lot, you can continue to ask questions to see if they're knowledgeable over the phone. Just fill that vibe out. So I only went to 1 dealership. This was located in Aberdeen, Maryland. It's technically, I think, like a 45-minute drive, roughly, from Baltimore. So what I had to do, which you'll see in the next clip, I had to take the megabus from New York. I had my lovely, faithful, loving mother pick me up from the bus stop. And we drove from White Marsh to Aberdeen to look at this car. Now, when you get to the car dealership, you want to be about business. Don't be all smiley and giggly and ha ha. Oh, I love the car. I love it. Da-da-da-da-da. Be very professional. Be very stern. Okay, yeah, I'm here to look at so-and-so car because again, some people like to take advantage of you being like super excited and super happy about a car. That they're like, oh, she'll just take anything. She's just happy. She has the so glads. And you'll talk to the salesperson. What I did first, what I like to do, I don't go into the car dealership. I'm like, oh, hey, can I speak to someone? I want you to show me the car. No, I went to the car dealership place. I got out of my car. I parked the car, and I proceeded to walk around. I'm walking around. I'm, surveying the lot. I'm seeing any cars that might catch my eye other than the one that I came to look at. And I'm also checking to see if the salespeople are going to come out and say anything. You know what I'm saying? Because if no one says anything to you while you're on the lot, it's just like, do you want this sale? Do you want this coin or not? Of course, someone came out and was like, hey, like basically, what are you doing? They're like, hey, can I help you? And I was like, yes, I'm looking for a 2015 yada 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 whatever model make of car. Do you guys have that here? And then it's like, oh, because sometimes they try to play games. I don't know why. Is this ingrained in like the car salesman like handbook? Like, oh, act like you don't know. I don't know. I don't know if we have like. I literally saw it on your website this morning. I traveled down here from New York, and I'm gonna see if that is in stock for me to purchase. Like, we have to talk business. Like, don't act like it's not there. Well, baby, I see it. I see it. I see it. I see it. Also, side note, buying a car is not like going to get groceries or picking up shoes. It is a long process. Do you expect to be in the car dealership between 3 to 5 hours or more? Usually it's 3 to 5 hours for when I ever have gone to get a car, but it's just not like in and out. So if you need to get a snack before, use the bathroom. They have bathrooms, but things going on in the world. Do that and prepare to talk the talk and negotiate. So the gentleman that helped me, he was very nice, very informative, very down to earth, which I appreciate. So, I saw the car that I wanted, and then of course he hits me with, oh wait, there's a better car. I'm like, okay, can I see it, right? So he shows me this car. I'm looking at it. Again, be very like poker face, looking at it. Okay. But inside I was like, this is nice. But you don't want to show that on the outside. So I'm like, okay. I'm asking questions about the car. Key questions that you want to ask is how many owners did this car have previously to you. I also like to ask them for the like Carfax sheet, just so I can actually physically have it, so I can look at it. And you always want to test drive the car. When you're test driving a car, you're going to have a valid driver's license sometimes, or most of the times, or actually all the time. They're going to take a copy of your driver's license, keep it on file, and every time that I've been looking, or every time that I had to do a test drive, like the salesperson never went with me. My mom said the salesperson went with her last time. So me and my mom drove the car. And when you're test driving the car, okay, you want to make sure it drives fine, of course, but that's not the only thing you want to look for. You want to make sure that your windows, they go up and down, the heat works, the AC works, for your side mirrors work, your wipers are working correctly, your seats can go up and down without an issue. You want to listen to how the engine sounds. Is it loud? Doesn't seem like something's rattling. You want to look at the mileage, because sometimes they say that this car only has 32,000 miles on it. It's actually 66. That's a huge difference. You want to look at if there's any cosmetic flaws, anything within the car or outside the car. You want to make sure that there's a gas or fuel cap, or Opens and closes fine. Pop your trunk. What I suggest you to do is we always do when we test drive a car. We'll test drive it like for a good like 20 minutes, see how it turns, maneuvers, all the good stuff. Then we go to a gas station and we'll actually visit a gas station or a grocery store parking lot. It really doesn't matter. Somewhere where you can physically park the car. We get out and we examine this car. Like we pop the trunk. We move the seats back and forth. We turn up the AC. We turn down the AC. We turn up the heat. We turn down the heat. We're moving the mirrors. We're turning on our lights. You know, all the good stuff. Now, technically, if you're buying it from a car dealership, it should pass, what's that test called? Oh my gosh, I'm blanking. This test, I forgot the name, but it's down here. And that basically gives you the green light of where this car is in a good condition and you're able to drive it on the road. However, I still like to do my own investigation. And sometimes the car dealership will have on the window of that specific test name, I forgot what it's called, and they'll say like passed or F, P or F or R or D for damage, or like it needs to be retested. And those are things that you should bring up to your salesperson when you're purchasing this car. It's like, hey, like I see that, you know, the wipers, they didn't pass inspection. That's what it's called. Woo! That it didn't pass inspection. Is there something that you guys can do with that price, or can you guys repair it? You just want to make sure that more bang for your buck when you're purchasing this car. You've test drove your car, you're in love with it, you have the so glass, you're like, I'm driving off with this car today on site, straight like that. But wait sis, don't get the so glads yet. Remember, we said our credit's not the best. Our credit's not the best. And we still have to go back to the salesperson, have a negotiation, talk about the car, and see if this is what you actually want to finalize on. So, me and my mom, we scooped back to the car dealership like, woo, woo, we like this. But you know, me and my mom, he's like, all right, don't act like you like it, don't act like you like it, like, calm down. So we, you know, drive up like, whatever. So then we get there, and like, he thought he was so cool. Like, he showed us like the best car ever. He goes, and he tried to act so cool. So you like the car, right? And this is a thing to not do. I'm like, yeah, I love it. So how can I move forward? I was like, yeah, it's okay. But can I point out some things to you? Can we look at the car? He was like, yeah. What's wrong? That's when they start to think and start to get a little wary. Don't get too comfortable, okay? Don't get too comfortable now, okay? So I was like, first and foremost, when he first introduced the car, he said it was like at 39,000 miles or something like that, right? I was like, well, first and foremost, the mileage, it's extreme difference. I believe it's 69,000 miles on it. He was like, 69,000 miles? No, it's definitely 35. I was like, we can look, you know, I don't have to lie. But then he tried to act like I don't know how to read miles. So I'm like, okay, let's look. And he was like, oh yeah, I must have made a mistake. I was like, okay, that's one mistake to take in consideration. And then I was like, also, when I was winding down the window on the driver's side, it had like this click, 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 click. And it sounded like the window was going to crack, right? And I was like, why is the reason for this? It was like, can this potentially be fixed? How did this pass inspection? And then he was like, oh, I think it was because like when someone had tint on the window, it caused that in the window. I was like, nah, that doesn't sound like something that would, you know, affect a window because of tint. I was like, can you have someone else look at it, or can I speak to a manager, because this is not it. Like, it literally sounded like the window was cracking. And he was like, oh, okay. Is that all the concerns? I was like, yeah, I just want to see what can be done about the window before I move forward. So I guess the manager of the dealership, he comes out, he tests the windows, and he says because the window was off track. Knew it. Went back to his sales room or his office, and that's when the negotiation started to happen. So this car was a 2015 Honda Civic, two-door sports car coupe, basically. It has a great MPG. It was a great car. It looked practically brand new. The minor flaws that I pointed out was that there was a little like stains on the seat and that window issue. And then also you initially told us that it was like 30 some thousand miles on it when it was actually 60 some thousand miles on it. So we all brought that up. Now the car was listed for, I think, $12,900, which in all reality, that's still a great deal. I think it was under Kelly Blue Book, so that's fine by me. But we're gonna negotiate. I'm like, okay, so is that the best price that you can give us? The window's a little janky, and the seats are like stained. Like I would have to go get that detailed and clean, you know, all that yada yada. So sometimes they like to play hardball, and I'm like, nah, no, that's the best price. Like you're getting a great deal. 69,000 miles, only one owner, no cosmetic flaws, no accidents. It's practically brand new. So when he says it's practically brand new, you got to be like, is it though? Is it though? So I'm like, yeah, I understand that it's practically brand new, but it's not. So are we gonna like lessen the price? Yada yada yada. So he took $200 off, and then they agreed to fix the window at the dealership. Okay, whatever. I got something. Not a lot, but it was something. Then the next step. It was paperwork time. Be aware that you're going to have to sign your name. It feels like you're signing your life away, honestly. You have to sign your name like 18 times. Okay? So again, we had the conversation like, yeah, by the way, my credit's not that great. And he's like, oh, what's your credit score? And I told him. But just so you guys know that usually when they run your credit, actually make sure they only run it one time, because I've had a horrible nightmare experience where a car dealership ran my credit 12 times. But anyway, when they run your credit, when they usually use FICO, that credit score is 100 points more than what your traditional or your actual credit score is. So preferably FICO, because it just looks better. Yada yada yada. So you're talking to the guy or talking to the salesperson, and he's like, oh, well, the credit's not that good. How much do you make a year? And where I lack in my credit, I kind of make up with my salary. So I told him the salary, and he was like, oh, okay. So it was a little bit more desirable, but I really didn't have it in. And then I was like, okay, so how much would I have to put down to drive off the lot with this car to secure it, because I know my credit's not that great, right? And then he hits you with, well, how much can you put down? That's not the question I asked, but it's okay. So I was like, so you always want to go a little bit lower than what you want to actually put down. So I was like, okay, I can put down $2,000. I can put down $2,000. He's like, oh, okay, $2,000. I mean, I think that would work. He was like, well, let me go get the paperwork, speak to my manager, and see what it is. So he goes to speak to his manager. At this point, I'm like, I really want this car. I'm not driving home without a car. I came down here to get a car. I need this car. So then he goes to speak to his manager. He's like, I don't know, because like the credit score situation, yada, yada, yada. I'm like, okay. So I was like, okay, how much do you need me to put down to secure the car? And then he was like, I need 25. Dude, can you at least put down 25? I was like, that's a little out of my my budget. What about 22? He was like, can you do 24? I was like, I can do 23. That's all I can do, right? And he was like, okay, deal. We'll do 23. Now, initially, I was looking to put down at least $3,000, but 23 was it. So you've negotiated the price of the car, you've negotiated how much you're going to put down, and then comes the paperwork. Another thing that you want to make sure that you have, of course, before any car can drive off the lot or any car can drive on the street, period, you have to make sure you have car insurance. So I wanted to make sure that I'm actually getting this car before I actually get car insurance. So he was like, "Do you have car insurance?" I was like, "Am I driving off the lot with the car today?" He was like, "Yeah, of course." I was like, "Okay, cool." I was like, "Give me a second." You literally can call Geico up right there and tell them like, "Oh, hey, I'm at a car dealership. I'm looking to purchase this car today and drive off the lot with it today." The representative that I talked on the phone while I was at the car dealership was super nice, super informative. I was able to get my car insurance within 20 minutes. You want to make sure that you get the VIN number from your car dealer of your car that you're driving off with, because they'll need that information when you're getting your insurance. And you also want to make sure that when you're having the conversation of getting your insurance, that you are stating any additional safety features that you have in that car, because that will lower your car insurance. So if you have a rear view camera, if you have ABS, anti-brake system, or anti-lock brake system, if you have an alarm on the car, if you have a side view mirror, the list goes on and on. So make sure when they're asking those questions, you're actually listening and you go, "Oh yeah, I have that. Oh yeah, I have that. Oh yeah, I have that." If you haven't been in car accidents, I think for like 5 years or something like that, state that. That's good drivers something. That's a discount. So make sure you do all that. Now, once you have completed all that, that's when they're drawing up the paperwork, they're drawing up the payments. They'll let you know how much your monthly payments will be a month, when your first car payment is due, and then you've already paid for your car insurance at the car dealership when you initially get it. There's no like payment plan for car insurance. It's just like, "Oh, okay, this is your payment plan. Your car insurance is $150 a month. Is that credit or a debit?" And you give them that information, and now you have car insurance. Usually after you're finished getting the car insurance with the representative, you will want them to fax over or email your car insurance ID cards, and I think the policy number to the car dealership, so they know you actually have it and they can put that on file. And then once you sign all the papers, you get all your paperwork, you get one of these lovely folders. Is my name on this? No. You get a lovely folder. And this has all essential information in it. I would highly suggest that you read this over. And it tells you all the information as far as how many months that you plan to make car payments on this, the purchase price, the year, the VIN number, all the good stuff. They give you a temporary, I'm not gonna turn this around, but this is a temporary registration certificate that you will need to keep in your car. You have temporary tags and all the information on the address that you put for the car dealership. That's where they're going to mail your official title and tags to. So be mindful of that. And it's just a lot of paperwork that is included in this. If you can haggle your annual percentage rate, try to. Unfortunately, I wasn't in the best position to do that because of my credit score, but sis has improved it. We're improving it. Okay, so I'm not super upset about that. Make sure you get a receipt for everything. Got a receipt for the down payment I put on there. And if you are looking to put more money on your car, just to pay off the balance, make sure when you call them, you tell them that you want to put it towards the principal. Don't say, "Oh, hey, like I want to put $500 down on my car payment, they'll be like, okay, they'll put that towards your principal and the interest. You want to put it straight to your principal, sis and my guy. That will make it better for you. I hope you guys like this video. If you guys have any questions or any comments or concerns about what makes and models that you should buy, I will help you as much as you can. But again, it's truly dependent upon your budget, your wants and your needs. I'll get my like little fancy car when I'm in my 30s, you know, driving around, picking up the kids, you know, date night with Bay, hanging out with the friends. You know, that's the type of car that I will get then. But right now, I love my car. It's cute. It gets me from point A to point B. It works completely fine. And we're bossing up. We're making it happen. 2020 is not canceled. So again, guys, don't forget to like this video. Subscribe and comment down below what type of car do you have, or what type of car do you want. My dream car is a Tesla. Like, I love Teslas, but that might change in a year or two. I'm low-key indecisive, but we'll see. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.